How do you think society would change if men could also get pregnant? Status. Topic locked for moderation cleanup. Topics are generally locked when a post has received a large number of rule-breaking comments that require moderator attention. Please report all rule-breaking. Am I the only one who think childbirths would go down? Men and women would argue about who has to carry the kid because both don't want to. If women could be the biological parent without having to carry it, they would want that too. We wouldn't need to be 25, have 3 kids, and have our spouses agree to get our tubes tied. My mom told me once that she believed rape would go down. A lot of men risked getting pregnant as well. I have to agree. Maternity leave packages would be better. There would be more flexibility in the workplace. You could get your tube tied / sterilization as you wish. Funding for male contraceptive research would absolutely explode. Suddenly the side effects are too severe argument would go out the window because they're a goddamn cakewalk compared to carrying a pregnancy. Custody and child support systems would probably change to be less biased toward mothers. Employment and benefits structures would change for the differences needed in maternity / paternity care / accommodations. Having gaps in a resume for becoming a SAP parent would be less of a problem for job seekers. Gender roles surrounding household chores, jobs, division of labor, emotional variance, discipline etc. would likely change as a result of more men experiencing the hormonal changes of pregnancy. The social definitions of masculinity and femininity would change. Men would be referred as seahorses. I see it, and I live for it. Men would stop trying to claim childbirth isn't that bad. Maternal mortality in the US would no longer be the highest in the developed world. Women's health might become a real medical specialty instead of something limited to the reproductive organs. Pain relief for procedures involving the reproductive organs would be taken seriously and less stigmatized. I'm tempted to say that environmental contaminants with synergistic impact as well as endocrine disruptors would be banned, but male sperm count has been dropping for like 50 years already, and that hasn't happened yet, so maybe not. Most of the New York City subway stations would be made handicap accessible. Pregnancy pacts that you see sometimes in schools would absolutely go through the roof. Those men who didn't want to become pregnant would suddenly be willing to take a lot more personal responsibility for preventing their unwanted pregnancies and likely be far more pro-choice than before. Click for more responses to previous incarnations of this question. https://www.reddit.com/r/askwomen/search. Q equals MEN% 20 PREGNANT and RESTRICT_SR equals 1. Abortions would no longer be a political discussion and would be regular, routine surgery. If women need to have an orgasm to get men pregnant, there would be like 35 people in the world. All of a sudden, the pill for men that hasn't been successfully launched on the market in the last 10 years will be out in the wink of an eye. To quote Selena Mir from Veep, you could get an abortion at an ATM. Way more funding / research into male birth control. Pregnancy? Are you kidding me? Even with just periods alone, I've joked around with my fiance that men would probably get mandatory days off every month lol. Oh boy, parental leave would be a thing that exists in the US. Being a parent wouldn't hold you back in your career like it does to women now. Parenting would be equal between the parents for most couples. Make birth control would exist. There would be fewer pro-life men. Birth control would be free and abortion would never be politicized. I think a lot more women might be interested in having biological children if they could opt out of pregnancy and childbirth and all the horrors that come with those things. I would, anyway. I think abortion would be a lot more accessible and less stigmatized. In the OB recovery ward, men would tell their visiting buddies how intensely long the labor was, how much it hurt, and how they totally did a natural childbirth without any anesthetic whatsoever. They would be lying about the no anesthetic part. We'd have free/subsidized abortions and contraception in every country, a good amount of paid parental leave here in the US, and women probably wouldn't be considered second-class citizens to the extent that we are now. They'd discover treatments to alleviate cold symptoms while pregnant, and contraception would magically be much better. Birth control would be a right. Abortion and birth control would be legal, free, and available at every corner store. Paternity leave would be years and paid. Abortions would be safe and legal. Full stop. Pregnancy would be seen as a paid contribution to society, 1 year at minimum paid time off to recover after childbirth, as well as additional payment for the great sacrifice they've made to have a child. Childbirth and labor would be a painless, simple and quick routine process. It would be a lot more equal, that's for sure. Our reproductive capability is the main reason that women are oppressed. Abortions would be offered everywhere for a very cheap price. It wouldn't even be an argument. Tampons and sanitary napkins would probably be tax-free. Women will not be expected to quit their job/career to create a family in some cultures. As I could tell you all the possible changes. 1. Maternity leave would be universally applied everywhere. 2. Ideal sexual assault and/or rape would be taken a lot more serious. 3. Abortion laws would probably be passed way more universally. 4. There would be less issues of not wearing a condom. Less debate about abortions. Birth control would be easier to get. They probably wouldn't complain as much about using condoms. I assume coming with the ability to get pregnant would also come with periods, which means they'd understand we are not being dramatic when it comes to pain. Honestly, I think society would be way better. We would have much more empathy, and that's extremely important. I would be more open to having a kid if I didn't have to carry it. Then I would be more blasé about it overall. Then maybe it's better to always carry, regardless what your sex. Suddenly it would be okay to have one kid. I honestly think 99% of the gender gap would go away if this happened. I had this conversation with my sexist brother once. He asked why there were more male surgeons than female surgeons. In my opinion, it's because women get pregnant and men don't. So when it comes down to deciding whose career takes even a subtle backseat, when a heterosexual couple has kids, it often just makes sense that it's the person who carried the baby and likely stayed home to recover from labor anyway. Hygiene products for menstrual cycles would be cheaper, if not free, assuming men would also have a menstrual cycle as well. Abortion wouldn't even be a debate. Gay marriages would have never been a taboo. Many abortions. Abortion centers on every block like Starbucks. Not only would birth control be free to everyone across the planet, it would be entirely 100% side effect free, and there would be no more of this 99.9% effective malarkey either. It would be absolutely foolproof. There would be no breast is best arguments, because formula would be an absolutely perfect recreation of it. Hyperemesis gravidarum would be totally wiped out, and regular morning sickness would be rare and very mild. Maternity leave would be longer and properly paid, as would all other forms of parental leave. And, perhaps, men would feel more welcome at mother and baby groups. Important and necessary changes would be made, and they would actually give a fuck. Read The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. The people of winter are sexless when not aroused, and form sex organs according to the ones of their partner when they are. It's an interesting society they have when anyone can potentially impregnate or become pregnant. We would likely have found much more remedies and better research for periods. Being able to be pregnant brings period, which then brings pain. sickness, and aches 7 days a month 12 months a year. For roughly 35 years. I think they said it on SNL. Abortion clinics would be on every corner like Starbucks, and the morning after pill would come in flavors like Cool Ranch. The maternity leave would be longer than the paternity leave is right now, that's for sure, cause they would understand how difficult it is to recover from the birth while taking care of a newborn. Birth control would be free and fucking handed out like candy. More women would be at the top of the corporate ladder. There would be a lot more research into pregnancy and pregnancy related conditions like preeclampsia and PUPPS. Abortion would be an app on your phone. Tampons and pads wouldn't be taxed or so damn expensive. Abortions on Walmart and CVS. Abortion would be legal in a heartbeat. In a situation where men could get pregnant, we can assume this come with all of the typical female organs. I assume that women's health research would skyrocket. Suddenly there would be awareness for all of the silent diseases that women suffer with, such as endometriosis, PCOS, vaginismus, ECT. Abortion and contraception would likely be available from a vending machine. Every human being would be pro-choice. Abortion would become a sacrament. Every time they got a cramp they would say they are dying. Safer chemical contraceptives would have more funding a long time ago. Access to birth control would miraculously be available at no fee. All fem hygiene would now be essential hygiene and non-taxed. Abortion would no longer be politicized. My body, my choice. Daycare and maternity/paternity leave would be 100% subsidized. Preschool education would be fully government funded. If men could get pregnant at any age as opposed to women, then I think marriage may happen later in life than it currently does, and perhaps there would be less divorces. Some women rush into marriage and pick the wrong person because they are desperate so they can finally have babies. They are scared they will get too old already. Women may wait longer if it meant waiting till they're 40 to make sure they meet the right person. However, then there would be more people always looking for better options. There may be baby making later in life too. Babies are born earlier because it becomes harder to get pregnant. Even though it is easier to take care of a baby when you're younger, I believe it's mainly due to that reason. I think biologically, men may end up having a closer attachment to the child if they had the kid vs the mom. Of course the man is attached to their child regardless, but women as the moms have a special kind of bond since they give birth to the baby and carry it within their body for 9 months. This would change that.